If you really want to get a reasoned ruling from the Speaker, let's hear each other. Keynan, give to Keynan.
Mr. Speaker, this is the House of Rules. This is the House of Traditions. This is a house that enjoys being a quasi-judicial institution. Mr. Speaker, on the face of it, I want to take this opportunity to welcome my colleagues to this very important session and say that the Kenyan people outside there are really looking upon us to deliberate in a civilized manner and guide this nation. Mr. Speaker, there comes a time when there are issues that must be deliberated and agreed upon. And I want to agree one thing with my brother Junet, that you are qualified even to be the President of the Republic of Kenya, not even the majority leader alone. Mr. Speaker, having said this, there are certain things that we must clear and follow the procedures, and it's only the procedures that will guide us. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the order paper today, the next order paper, order number 8, is supposed to provide for the appointment of members of the House Business Committee, which is the anchor committee for the House Business, Mr. Speaker. But we cannot reach there until certain issues are sorted out, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, now that we can discuss the appointment under this order number 8, I want to seek your guidance on the following. Mr. Speaker, it's apparent that the High Court last week has quashed the ruling contained in the Speaker's communication dated 6 October 2022 on the majority and the minority. That is a fact. It cannot be denied. Mr. Speaker, secondly, I had a chance to go through this great ruling. I've internalized, I've looked at it, I've seen what it means, I've seen what in the letter and interpretation of this, what the Speaker in the House is generally expected to do. Mr. Speaker, on the face of it, there are certain, the petitioner sought the following: declaration to be issued that Azimio La Umoja One Kenya coalition is the majority party in the National Assembly based on the outcome of the general elections of based on the outcome of the elections of members of the National Assembly held on 9th August. The second, Mr. Speaker, prayers was the declaration be issued to declare that Kenya Kwanza Alliance is a minority party in the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the orders given, even under order number 4, it's a bit confusing. It is not explicit. It doesn't say this. The court declined. They quashed the Speaker's ruling, but did not give proper guidance on what constitutes the majority and the minority. Mr. Speaker, from...
Give him 1 minute.
It is clear, Mr. Speaker, the court quashed the ruling of the majority and the minority, but never answered the question on how this later on is going to be arrived in the House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this means we are back to square one where we were when this parliament started. We are back to square one, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, unless this question is determined, we are staring at a crisis. Mr. Speaker, I say this because standing order,
yes.
Standing order 171, I'm on a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Wanjala. What's your point of order? Give him the mic. Give Wanjala the mic. There you are.
Mr. Speaker, courts are arbiters. And when they have given orders or declarations, it's up to the institution to implement. It is not debated.
Order,
you have seen the ruling of the court.
Order, Wanjala. Order. Order, Wanjala. I don't know whether... Have you even read that judgment? Have you read that judgment? Keynan, wind up.
I'm trying to say that unless this question pursuant to Standing Order 171 is determined, we are facing a crisis, and this crisis can only be sorted out with a proper guidance from the Speaker. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to say is this: This state of affairs, Mr. Speaker, portends a crisis for the House, Mr. Speaker, and therefore we want your guidance, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 171, on which party is the majority and which party is the minority. Once that is determined, Mr. Speaker, all the other things will flow, Mr. Speaker, and therefore I want to seek your guidance on this.
Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, he's still occupying our space, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Why can't they just move to their side?
Order, majority. Order. Order, Robert Mbui. Order, Robert Mbui. If you listen to me carefully, Robert Mbui, order members. And I want you to listen to this carefully. Order members. Order. I did say Robert Mbui, and you are misconducting yourself. You are too senior to be told to leave the chamber. I did say, and I want to repeat, and Emilio Odhiambo, who raised the point, has read this judgment clearly. The judgment quashed the direction of the Speaker on the majority-minority. The judgment never declared who is the majority. It is not the court to declare the majority. It is the Speaker of this House. And you better know that. It is the Speaker of the House to declare the majority. Robert Mbui gone. No, Osoro.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
That's not true.
I want to speak it up from what you've actually said, Honorable Speaker. That even upon reading the judgment of the court, the standing orders of this House, Honorable Speaker, gives you power to declare who is the majority and who is the minority. We appreciate the judgment of the court as it is. We are ventilating about the judgment. We respect the courts. But again, it is these very laws that govern, as Honorable Speaker, that give you that power, as Honorable Speaker, to declare the majority and minority. So even as Honorable Junet and the Honorable Emilio Odhiambo, Honorable Speaker, live on rented space, they should know that the final declaration of majority and minority comes from your seat, Honorable Speaker. But even then, Honorable Speaker, perhaps we should ponder and ask ourselves these very pertinent questions. In the past 2 years that we've served in this House, Honorable Speaker, we've served in these capacities, as it were, on who is the majority and who is the minority, Honorable Speaker. Several decisions have been made. We have formations of the committees that fall on the majority, minority, chairman, the committees that are supposed to be led by members from the majority side, and the committees that are led by the members of the minority side. Does it mean, Honorable Speaker, that every decision that has been passed by the committees, or any report that has been passed by the committee that falls on the minority, as it were then, and the majority, is it rendered mute as it is right now, Honorable Speaker? If going by the judgment, if we read on the judgment, like they want us to define it as it, just on plain paper, Honorable Speaker, that is question one. Question two that we should ask ourselves, Honorable Speaker. Right now, the selection panel, Honorable Speaker, of the IEBC that was nominated by both the minority parties or the Parliamentary Service Commission, that minority party brought the membership, the majority party brought the membership. The IEBC selection panel has already started working, Honorable Speaker, right now in terms of selecting the next commissioners. What then happens to them? What happened to that selection panel? Because they were appointed on the basis of the majority and the minority when the Parliamentary Service Commission submitted the names. Those are the questions we need to ask ourselves, Honorable Speaker. The Commission for Revenue Authority, Honorable Speaker, that again is a preserve of both the minority and the majority. Honorable Speaker, what then happens on the decisions that have been made in the past 2 years? The allowances that have been paid, Honorable Speaker, the travels that have been made, everything that we've passed, Honorable Speaker, in this house. Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, because we are at the midterm of this Parliament, Honorable Speaker. Even as you retire to make this your ruling, Honorable Speaker, it is important for us, Honorable Speaker, to ask ourselves those very pertinent questions, because we shouldn't just be
Okay. Thank you, Osoro. Give him a minute.
Honorable Speaker, you see, we shouldn't just be talking about positions on who is the minority, who is the majority leader, and as Honorable Junet as well put it, We are all members of parliament and we can serve in whatever capacity. But let's look at the implications of this decision, Honorable Speaker. What happens to what we've passed in the past 2 years? What happens to the right decisions that are leading this country in the past 2 years, Honorable Speaker? What happens to the IEBC selection panel? Those are the questions. Otherwise, I'll tell my colleagues, the Honorable Millie Odhiambo, who is saying that she has added in her CV the position of the chief whip of the majority. She'll only do that, Honorable Speaker, in her dreams. It will not work. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
David Ocheng.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the 3 judges.
Order, honorable members, can we listen to each other?
I want to thank
Save David Ocheng's time. Order, members. Order. Order, members on their feet. Take your seats. Honorable members, I have given you guidance and I want to repeat. The upshot of the judgment of the court, in law we say, we go back to the status quo ante. Status quo ante. When you go back to the status quo ante, then the House has to make a decision and a finding on who the majority is. The court has not declared any party a majority in this House. Read the judgment carefully. Don't speak from what you are hearing in the air. That is number one. Number two, order, Wanjala. I'm just giving you guidance so that you don't speak irrelevantly. We have gone back to the status quo ante. Convince the House as to its majority, the Speaker will make a finding. On fact,